first start with, this is 2019, but the figures are close to the same. We have 7.7 billion people on the planet and growing. If just a glance at these numbers, we know that the majority of the planet are people of color. There's no confusion or ambiguity here. This is really clear. Now, this has always been the truth, by the way. The problem is they didn't have social media back in the day. TV went off at night. You just assume that the world is white. But based on these statistics right here, you should have had just at least one Asian person floating through, just walking around in the back. 59% of the population in real time. Again, bothers the one group that is really shrinking significantly in number, meaning that more white people are dying than being born. And this is producing a problem, but the problem is based upon a pathological view of reality. Pathological. Stay with me. You're looking at these numbers because the truth of the matter is these numbers, real numbers, are going to be the reflection of what the reality of the planet. It just is. There's nothing that anyone can stop, but it is because of a pathological fear of annihilation that we're seeing much of what we see going on in this country right now. So I want to put in context those numbers. In 1975, there were only 3 places, cities that had 10 million or more folks in them. They were called mega cities. That was Tokyo, New York, and Mexico City. Now there are 31 mega cities with at least 10 million people. Most of them are in the developing world, and the UN projects that 10 more will join the list by 2030. 10 largest cities are in Asia, 0 are in Europe. And if you look at it, New York barely made the cut. So putting it in another perspective, if you are 1 in 1 million in China, there are 1,300 people just like you that are 1 in a million. Within 10 years, China will become the #1 English-speaking country in the world. The 25% of the population in China with the highest IQ is greater than the total population of North America, and in India they have more honor students than we have students. Real numbers. And again, when you start looking at the configuration of power and leadership, it gets a little fuzzy. So I always pull this out just because I'm 62 and I'm just wondering, I know there hasn't been a continental shift since I was a child. Basically, the answer to this question should be the same answer as when I was 4th grade. So in my 4th grade class, there were 3 parts to the assignment. You have to define what a continent is, you have to name them, and then you have to place them on a map. All 3 parts of the exercise. So we will start with the very first question, what is a continent? So it's a large landmass surrounded by water. So now we're going to name the continents. How many are there?
6.
Okay, so Africa, Asia, Antarctica, Australia, North America, South America, and Europe. But that's what's named. So here is the answer, 2019. So the continent is defined as a large, unbroken landmass completely surrounded by water. The 7 continents are North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, and Antarctica. I just want you to look at it, because we just dealt with the first part of the assignment, and that is to first define what a continent is. And then you have to place them on a map. So just, poor little 4th grader, just keep looking. Europe is neither large nor surrounded by water. Stay with me. See, because these are the things that are hidden in plain sight. Europe is not. Now, they're still telling this lie right now. So because of something called cognitive dissonance, and cognitive dissonance is thinking discord. It is when you are holding simultaneously contradictory ideas, thoughts, beliefs, what have you. Right? At the same time, it creates discord internally, and so people have to remove the dissonance in order to be functional. So this creates dissonance because, I'm sorry, it doesn't make any sense. So now knowing that it doesn't make sense, and still trying to hold to the concept, they have to now fix this so that we can all accept it. So let's go back. Political considerations have overridden geographical facts when it came to naming continents. In other words, we're going to lie about it. How is it that political considerations can, I want you to look at the language here, because what they're telling you is in spite of the truth and the factual information, we're going to go on and say something different anyway. So geographically, Europe, including the British Isles, is a large western peninsula of the continent of Asia. They just told you it was a peninsula. They said, well, we're going to call it a continent anyway. because since everybody else got a continent, we just don't have one. So in order to fix this, if you go online right now, you get to this little map, the little map I showed you is actually online. And when you get to Europe, it suddenly changes names. Eurasia. Nobody else named their country based on a peninsula. Are you following? This is hidden in plain sight.